Okay, my little cherubs, we've got hot topic number 9, motivation. So we're going to answer this question. We have got, give one example of intrinsic. Now notice it's got to be intrinsic and there's only value for one. Okay, so we've got a feeling a something of something. So what are we going to sort of answer this? I'm going to say a sense of not belonging this time. See if I can squeeze this in. Achievement. Hopefully you can squeeze yours in. Sense of achievement because of doing physical activity. What your examiner is going to do, and by the way, not necessarily on paper, there will be marking line, but they will circle this, they will highlight that as relevant. It will be ticked and you will be awarded 1 mark. And in this case, that will be the maximum for this question because you've got 1 out of 1. That's what we're looking for all over your paper. Of course, just remember it is marked on screen. I'm doing this with obviously with a pen as if I'm doing, I'm doing it on screen as well, but effectively with a pen. Now, this one's an interesting one. I want you to look at this question. Look at this answer below. Is it worth 1 mark or 2? Has the student made 1 point or 2? Now, why is this relevant? It's relevant because this person has been asked to describe 2 benefits of the same intrinsic motivation, for Aisha in this case, on her hockey performance, of intrinsic. So this is that enjoyment, sense of achievement, doing it for health and well-being and for the love and fun of playing hockey in this particular case. So what would that mean as a behavioural impact? And we need 2 of them. Well, we've got Aisha would attend training frequently, and look at this word, and would give 100% whilst at training. I was meant to go around that word. Can you see how that there is actually a 2nd mark? Because what are we saying? She would attend, and while she's there, she's going to give everything. So one of the things I want you to consider when you get something like describe 2, you could sort of bullet point and go, here's my first one, and here's my second one. You could do that, or you could just use our little mate and. Okay, so I'll leave that up to you. Discuss it with your teacher. If you want to know, I personally ask my students not to bullet point things. Now, you don't have to agree with me. That's not advice. That's just, in my opinion, and teacher, I'm talking to you a little bit here. In my opinion, I believe in my students to write really well-balanced prose-based sentences and answers at the age of 16. So that's my view, right? Now, you don't have to agree, by all means disagree, but I think simple kind of transitions of this to this can be actually quite useful for the student and be quite quick. But notice that our performer has made 2 benefits. Why? Because the question has specifically asked for that. So let's just have a little look here at sort of completing these pictures for us, folks. We've got Celeste here. We're looking at intrinsic motivation, which is motivation from within the performer. There's an example. Celeste enjoys going to the court and playing the game with her friends. Wonderful. What is the benefit of this? What is the knock-on of this? It's not just giving the example, but what does it mean? Let's say that needs a darker color than that green. That green's not that visible. Okay, here we go. What does she do? Because of that fun, she participates. There's an I in there, believe it or not. She participates 3 times a week because she likes doing this thing, even if tired. Even if tired. And I've imagined my performer as a university. She looks kind of university-ish, doesn't she? So I'm going to say, even if she's tired, she still does this 3 times a week because of that enjoyment factor. So we can bring that benefit of that enjoyment. What about Henry, our sort of army fitness person? He gets a sense of achievement every time he lifts a weight he hasn't managed before. So he lifts heavier. So what does this mean to him? It means his goal of lifting more, try to spell it correctly, of lifting more, his goal of lifting more drives his motivation. So I want you to think about this, okay? He is not competing with anyone else. He is doing this because it's his goal. He wants to get this weight up to, I don't know, a 15 kilogram instead of a 12 kilogram. And that is the thing that's driving his behavior. What is it causing him to do? It's causing him to train hard and be persistent. So you see how that sense of achievement causes a behavioral benefit to the performer, and that's why intrinsic motivation is important. Now, if we just look at this from one other example, we've got Danny, who's our basketball player. Danny, they enjoy the feeling of scoring baskets. Wonderful, that makes sense. That's a good feeling to have, isn't it? So what does that mean to their behavior? Danny is willing to take shots, even when under pressure. So if we think about Danny, what they are doing is they're thinking, okay, I want to score baskets, so therefore, even if I'm defending, if I've got a chance, I'm going to take that shot. They are thinking that. Danny is thinking that because that enjoyment at scoring the basket is driving this behavior. It's a benefit. Hopefully, if they shoot accurately, I suppose if they're missing all the time, it's slightly different, isn't it? Now, what about Celeste? We've already got the benefit here. We've got the idea that something is, and by the way, this is now extrinsic. It's from the external environment. Think about awards, prizes, certificates, this sort of money even. So what have we got here? We've got develops a stronger bond with her partner and wants to do well. Loves it when her partner, this is her paddle partner, by the way, her partner tells her great shot. Okay, so we've got this idea that Celeste is sort of trying to get affirmation and praise from her paddle partner. And that develops a strong bond because when they hit a great shot, they get told they got a great shot. That extrinsic motivation from the external environment, from the paddle partner, is helping in this case. Let's look now at Danny, our Army Fitness. He trains harder than anyone else in order to gain the edge. So this is compared to others, isn't it? He wants to be, let's just put number one. Now, I don't know what I mean by number one. Maybe lift the heaviest or be the best ranked. I don't know what that means. But this is driving his behavior to actually compete with others. And Danny, we see what the benefit to them is. Danny defends just as hard as when they're attacking. Why is that? They want to win player of the match. So this determination to be player of the match, get that award, that little trophy, even the pat on the back, whatever it happens to be, or just the accolade, because they were trying to win player of the match, they defend just as hard as when they're attacking. And that of course, is a wonderful impact on their performance. Let's keep the flow going. We're on to hot topic number 8. We're getting pretty darn warm here. So we have selected 3 methods of training. Obviously, there's loads of them, folks. Other methods of training are available. And we're going to look at these 3. And what we're going to do here is we're going to find the errors in the table and correct them. Okay, so let's sort of, I'll use my green and my red pen as we do for correct and incorrect here. And let's see what we say. So let's start with fartlek. So here's our fartlek. It means speed play. Hey, I'm pretty sure that is correct. So I'm going to give that a tick. Wonderful. Boom. What about this one? It develops aerobic endurance and, oh, I remember this, and speed. Agility. Hang on a second. That one is wrong. Why? Because it's not agility, it's speed. You could say power, actually. But develops aerobic endurance and speed. That is a really important point. It's popular with games players, this fartlek. Abso-blinking-lutely. There's our big green tick. So that little correction we're looking for. Now, interval training is continuous, right? Wrong. We would describe it, or one word you could use to describe it. It just means, this literally just means stop and start, by the way, but intermittent. It literally just means stop and start. Okay, or start and stop. That's all that means, intermittent. Go, stop. Go, stop. It's low intensity. No, it's high intensity. Now, it is true that we can do some lower intensity interval, especially more around aerobic intervals, but nevertheless, it's still going to be relatively high intensity. And it's the most popular training method for marathon runners. Well, we're going to say this is wrong. I don't want to say it's not popular. What we might call threshold training, which is a more technical term, what we might call lactate tolerance training, which is often interval based, is popular, but generally what you're going to find with marathon runners is the most popular type of training is continuous. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Who would be more popular with interval? Maybe games players? Maybe sprinters? These are people who might use intervals more often. Continuous is going to be for our marathon runners, probably. What about our circuit training then, folks? Develops muscular endurance only? No, it's not only. Plus, we could say strength. Plus, we could say let's go for it can also involve agility. It can also be plus flexibility. It could even be skill based. Now, I won't get into that, but we can even develop skill through this. So it's more than muscular endurance. Muscular endurance definitely is developed through circuit training very commonly, but it's not the only thing. It's good for whole body conditioning. Boom. Absolutely. Circuit training is fantastic if you want to develop whole body work, which is why it's often used in what we call a transition phase of the season, like a closed season, just to sort of whole body. And I've said already, it can incorporate skills. It absolutely can. So that's useful for us. Now, we've got an answer here. We've got Danny. Is the answer below Correct. Can you explain why? So let's just look over the question. We've got Danny is an elite level basketballer who completes the following interval session shown in the image. State the component of fitness with this specific interval training session will improve. So we've got the idea. So the person's arguing aerobic endurance for Danny. And we've said, okay, they're working 400 meters at 75%, 600 meters at 75%, and you see the repetitions, and 800 meters. Now, this one, for me, is the only one that relates more closely to aerobic endurance. Okay, I'm going to argue that this is more to do with muscular endurance. Why? Muscular endurance, why? And we're going to say because this is still relatively short distance or short periods of time. As a result of that, we are going to get high intensity work. Okay, not as high as if it was much shorter, but that's what we're going to find. So our reason, this is more towards muscular endurance. You could sort of relate to power, speed will also be relevant here. But no, we're saying this is not correct because this would not be considered aerobic interval enough as a whole picture of the session. Okay, let's move things on. What have we got here? We have Ashton. Let's have a look at Ashton's question on our components, on our training method, sorry. Ashton is going on his school snow sports trip, lucky bugger, and he wants to be able to snowboard on longer routes without taking a break. I bet he does. We all want stuff, don't we, Ashton, mate? Anyway, explain one reason, notice our number here, we're only looking for one, why Ashton might choose aerobic endurance circuit training as part of his exercise program. So let's see if we can put an answer into that. Ashton, because, and I want to say because I, one of the things, guys, because I'm saying explain why, I want to say because Ashton, bless him, will not feel, and I wonder if you know what I'm going to say next, fatigued, even, I love the word even in exam answers, even after an entire day snowboarding, So this lad on our school trip, our skiing trip, or our skiing and snowboarding trip, so he can board an entire day and he will not feel fatigued. Okay, and why? Because the nature of his circuit training is aerobic. Now, obviously, if this had been more to do with power, strength, muscular endurance, you could give another reason, right? You would be saying things like, so he could leap higher, so he could go at a faster speed. These would relate to more sort of anaerobic type areas. But here we are getting our mark from not fatigued, will not feel fatigued after an entire, that was meant to be red, by the way. I thought I changed to red. Not feel fatigued after an entire day's snowboarding. 1 mark, max. That's what we want to see. Maximum. Okay, let's move things on. A little bit to do here, folks, so bear with me and hang in there, okay? We want to sort of read through these statements carefully, and we want to answer the question in the table below, which column relates to interval, circuit, and fartlek. So what have we got? Why might each athlete select each training? So we are doing why. We are using the explain processes here. We're given reasons. So Henry Army Fitness, he likes this one in this column because changes of intensity are relevant to Henry. So he's got change of intensity. Aisha in hockey, excellent for reflecting the change of intensity in hockey. Sprint now, because I've got sprint, run, jog, walk. I already know what this is. And it has to be fartlek, guys. It has to be fartlek because it can't be interval because there's no stopping here. So that one's fartlek. And let's just check Danny. It reflects the change of intensity in basketball games. So that one I'm happy with. What must this one be? We are remaining. We've still got circuit and interval remaining. Less likely for Henry because Army Fitness does not include breaks. So I'm thinking interval. Aisha in hockey. Excellent for developing Aisha's recovery process when the play stops for a corner. So that's got breaks in it. More high intensity work than fartlek. Intermittency, so stop-start, reflects the timeout and benching aspects of the game. So this one, guys, is interval. And finally, what about, just check circuit. We'll put it in. We think this is right. It incorporates both running activities and weightlifting. Well, that feels like circuit to me. It develops whole body, circuit. Less relevant, but could be used for power development in the legs to help with jumping. So this would be almost like a leg circuit, wouldn't it, for Danny? Because Danny needs lots of leg power, so they might do lots of legs for circuit, but that one definitely a circuit. But guys, can I just stress something to you here? You've obviously, with me, written those 3 words in, but these explanations are absolutely brilliant. So this is the quality that top mark performers will be using in their responses, saying, why would Henry, Aisha, Danny utilize these different training methods in their particular fitness work? Now, I need to just switch canvases here. Just bear with me. So, folks, here we are. Last little bit for our section on methods of training. So we've got to explain 2 reasons. Look, we're explaining why. We've got to give reasons, a bit like we did before. Ashton might change an aerobic endurance circuit into a muscular endurance circuit. So this is back to that snowboarding and skiing. So we've got some gaps to fill in. Snowboarders need what? Well, we're going to say they need continuous or ongoing, I suppose, muscular contractions. So of course I'm relating here to muscular endurance. Contractions without, what does muscular endurance avoid? Without fatiguing to allow them to descend a steep hill. This is particularly relevant to the muscles in the legs. And the circuit will have lots of muscular endurance. I'll just put M. No, I will write that actually. Muscular endurance leg. I'll put here exercises. So just one thing that I feel this answer, it doesn't benefit from it, but it's worth just remembering is there is an assumed because at the start. Do you see how I haven't written in, but it says because snowboarders need. I've just written snowboarders need. But do you see how that is kind of, that was meant to be an underline. You see how that is sort of there as an assumption. And of course, the bits I've clarified there for you are going to come in and give you the marks for that particular response. And we are back with Danny because we're on goal setting, and our question is going to be the following. Danny's coach has set the following target to be able to improve their vertical jump test score by 5 centimeters in the next 6 weeks. Now, there's some nice bits about that target, right? It's specific, they're a basketballer, and it's obviously vertical jump. It's measurable, it's time related. All those things are quite neat in our goals. But anyway, we want to look here, complete the table below by naming the principle of goal setting represented by each letter and explaining the importance for Danny's training. So let's see if we can do that. We've got the S and the M. So of course, what have we got here? The S, as we know, is specific. The goal needs to be specifically set. And how could we explain that for Danny? Well, vertical jump test is an excellent method of measuring what? It's an excellent method for measuring leg power for Danny. And of course, Danny is a basketballer. Things like rebounding, which I'm going to put into here, are really important to Danny's basketball performances. So rebounding, which if you're not sure what that is, that's obviously catching the ball off the backboard or the rim, whether it's offensive or defensive rebounding. But that's a really important part of the actual performance. So what we would find our examiner doing here is going, yeah, that is correct. Okay, so that would get this mark, and this would get the second one. Okay, now as we go down to here, let me get back to my black just so we can be consistent. We've got that the M, of course, is measurable. That won't surprise any of you, I don't think. But what's the actual explanation? What does this do? He's got this measurability. If we just go back, it's measurable because it was by 5 centimeters within 6 weeks. It creates an objective target. Now, if you're not sure about the word objective, it means it's like based on facts. Okay, it's based in this case on numbers, on data. Objective target for success, and increases. What does this mean for Danny? Because it's there, it's relatively achievable, increases motivation for the athlete working towards it. And again, our examiner is going to do something along the lines of, yep, there's my M, and their objective target creates motivation for the person to work towards. And then we end up with our max. Lovely. Now, obviously, it's actually smarter as opposed to just smart here. And I just want to run through both with Ashton and then with Aisha, and then we're going to do an exam for Henry. And I just want to take time over this. So if you get bored with me, well, talk bluntly, because this really matters. So what is Ashton trying to do? I want to improve my vertical jump test by 5% through a 2 month, so quite similar, summer training program of plyometrics. I will record the details in my training diary. So how is that specific? The vertical jump test links to power. It's needed in snowboarding. Fine. 5% is measurable, bit like what we had above. Plyometrics can be done in the local gym, which is achievable. Do you see how he can go and do plyometrics? Something he can actually get his hands on the equipment, so that makes it relevant. Is it realistic? Yes, 5% it can be done within 2 months. That doesn't feel like it's too far away. So yeah, it seemed fine. We've got our timed here. The inclusion of 2 months makes it time bound. Okay, so we've got our time bounding because he's going to do it for 8 or 9 weeks. Is it going to be actually exciting? Yes, plyometrics is an exciting form of training. Lots of people love it. And is it recorded? Yes, he put it in his training diary. So can we just say that this goal that Ashton has got ticks all of these smarter requirements? And we're going to do another one for Henry in a second. I'll allow you to assess Aisha's. I'm just going to read this to you and then you can assess this for yourself. Over the next 6 weeks and through a written training plan with my coach, I love the comma there. So it's over the next 6 weeks. So there's my time bound, a written training plan agreed with my coach. There's our recorded aspect. I would like to improve my 12-minute Cooper run test. So that feels specific to me, aerobic endurance. An extra 10% through a variety of different training methods. So achievable, realistic, variety, presumably they've got access to those things. And you can effectively look at why that's smarter over here. Now, let's see if we can do one for Henry. Okay, and I'm just going to take my time here because I want this to come across nice and neat. Sometimes I rush things. I wish to improve my maximal, and by the way, just to be clear, I do expect you to be copying this in. Oh, we're not used to copying off the board. Tough, get it done. I wish to improve my maximal bench press. So it's, that sort of lying on the back and pressing probably a barbell away from one. Lift, and they're going to do this by 10 kilograms. So improve it by 10 kilograms for a single rep, for 1 rep, within 8 weeks. They're going to do 8 weeks training to actually go about achieving this. 8 weeks. My training plan will be on the wall. I'm just going to put here, I'm going to put it on the wall. So the training plan is going to be on the wall. I'm presuming that's in the gym or the changing room or somewhere relevant. So in what way is this a smarter target? And again, you can do this for yourself, I'm sure. But just to go over this, folks, let's just have a look why this is smarter. It's specifically because the bench press is relevant. He's going to do that in his army fitness test. So he actually needs to work on that. Fantastic. He's got his 10 kilogram improvement. That's what makes it measurable. Is it achievable? He's already got a gym membership. Doesn't say that in the goal, but I'm just telling you that he has. He's got a gym membership already, so he can do that. Is it realistic? Well, he's got 8 weeks to do it, so that feels like 10 kilograms is doable. So that feels about right. Is it timed? Well, we've got the same thing, haven't we? 8 weeks, so yes, it absolutely is. Is it exciting? Really importantly, he wants to do it. Did you notice right at the start? I wish to improve. I know it's just a word, but can you see he actually wants to do this? And finally, it's on the wall. Okay, so let's say it's on the wall. Let's say it's in the, let's say it's on the wall in the gym. So it's recorded. That is how we need to be thinking about smarter principles. And folks, I just want to be clear here, teachers too, you have got 1, 2, 3 beautifully and brilliantly written smarter targets. Go and mirror them, at least in your thinking, if not in your writing, even in your exam writing, and I think it'll be relevant for you.